Calgary Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the changes to the federal mortgage rules over the past 10 years, it's become harder and harder for first-time home buyers to purchase a house. Now it seems the new federal stress test involving the Bank of Canada benchmark is forcing Alberta to address a problem it doesn't have to counter issues in BC and Toronto. Mr. Speaker, more and more Albertans are unable to purchase a house or refinance their homes when dealing with hardships because of these rule changes. So, to the Minister of Finance, what communications have you had with your federal counterpart surrounding this issue?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much from the member. You know, it does seem like Ottawa is on a different economic plane from time to time and not looking at our needs. This stress test was intended to deal with issues in Vancouver and Toronto, but it has had an impact here in Alberta. I've heard from hardworking Albertans that it's difficult to buy a home at this point in time because of these rules. Now it's important for Albertans to be able to afford their homes with good mortgage-paying jobs, and that is challenging for many Albertans. That's why Ottawa cannot ignore the punishing differential, and we need support around that so we can get back to good mortgage-paying jobs.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that these rules are imposed by the federal government because they are concerned about rising consumer debt, and given that the federal government has done nothing to curb issues like credit card debt, which is the root of the problem, to the Minister of Finance, are you looking into solutions to either empower the ATB or our credit unions to provide alternative solutions for consumers?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much again, Mr. Speaker, and to the member for the question. Again, Ottawa doesn't seem to get it. That's why here in Alberta we've done things to make life more affordable, like axing payday loans that were put in place by the previous government. We brought in $25 a day daycare to make life more affordable, and we froze tuition fees, Mr. Speaker. Those things are making life more affordable for more Albertans as we go forward. On the personal banking side of things, Mr. Speaker, we'll continue to work with ATB and our credit unions to find solutions to community issues like this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given consumers and brokers are having a hard time renegotiating mortgages, preventing them from being able to qualify for financing, and given that all real estate markets are local and the federal government's national solution has hurt Alberta's housing market, will the Minister of Finance urge the federal government to consider measures which reflect the regional nature of Alberta's real estate market?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker, and the member for his advocacy. A couple months ago, I did write the letter to Ottawa saying that any interest rate decisions should take into account Alberta's situation, and we're looking at the Bank of Canada's next potential increase and thinking it may not happen as a result of some of the things going on in our economy. We know there's still more work to do, and until all Albertans feel this economic recovery, we're not going to stop, Mr. Speaker. We know that the path forward is not to cut 4,000 teachers and 4,000 nurses from their positions like the opposition wants to do every day of the week. Next week, I'll be in Ottawa, Mr. Speaker, talking to the finance ministers from across the country, and again, fighting.